Welcome to the Oilers TV live show. Thanks for making us a part of your afternoon on this beautiful Monday that we have in YEG. I'm your host, Tony Brar. The NHL has transitioned into Phase 4 with 24 teams making their way to their respective hub cities, of Edmonton, of course, being one of them, as the 12 Western Conference teams that are set for the Stanley Cup qualifiers and the Stanley Cup playoffs made their way to Edmonton yesterday. As for the Oilers, they did finalize their roster yesterday, composing of 31 players with 18 forwards, 10 defensemen, and 3 netminders. The 3 netminders, of course, being Mikko Koskinen, Mike Smith, and Stuart Skinner. Now, they did skate today at the downtown community arena this morning to start their journey in the bubble. Zach Kassian said, hopefully we're in the bubble for 2 months and we come out with the championship. And it all starts with the Stanley Cup qualifiers on Saturday against the Chicago Blackhawks. Game 1 is set to take place at Rogers Place with the 1 p.m. puck drop. But before that, they will be taking on the Calgary Flames in an exhibition game. There will be 1 of 3 games on tap on Tuesday. So just under 36 hours away from puck drop. From that is 8:30 p.m. puck drop. It is 1 of 3 games, as I mentioned. Pittsburgh and Philly will be the other one, the first game on tap, and then Toronto and Montreal. Those games, of course, being played out of Toronto. Now, as for that game against the Calgary Flames, Zach Kassian said they're going to be smart about it. You're not going to see the same tempers. You're not going to see the same emotion come into play, because they are playing for something bigger, and they are prepping for something bigger, that being Saturday's Game 1 against the Chicago Blackhawks. So expect a little tamer version of the Battle of Alberta. Now, the Oilers were 1-2-1 against Calgary this season. Their last matchup on February 1st, an 8-3 victory in the Saddle Dome. Liam Draisaitl, as he has all season long, led the Oilers with 4 assists in just over 19 minutes of ice time. Draisaitl, of course, as I mentioned, led the NHL in points, winning his first Art Ross Trophy, becoming the first German to ever do so with 110 points in a shortened season. Again, back-to-back 100-plus point seasons for the Oilers center. Now, we can report that Darnell Nurse and Kyler Yamamoto did skate today, as Yamamoto did leave early on Saturday at the Colby Cave Memorial Game. Darnell Nurse was declared unfit to play, but both on the ice. Of course, that game on Saturday was dedicated to their former teammate, Colby Cave, who tragically passed away on April 11th. We had the great honor and pleasure of talking to his wife, Emily. If you haven't seen that on Oilers TV, be sure to tune in. We will be hearing from the players right away here, as Matt Benning, Oscar Klefbom, Mike Smith are all up on the stand. And following that, we'll all, of course, hear from head coach Dave Tippett. So be sure to stay tuned as we continue with the Oilers TV live show.
Welcome everyone to today's conference call. We're open to take questions. Jason Greger first up. Just unmute your microphone and you can ask your question. Go ahead, Jason.
Good morning, guys. It's finally here now. It seems like a playoff week. So, Mike, as a goalie, can you just talk about the importance tomorrow night? Is there anything in a one exhibition game that you need to feel that will help you at all to get set for the playoffs?
Making saves. No, I mean, I think just it's such a short turnaround. Obviously, one game to get ready, and I think we've simulated a lot of game stuff in practice. So I think both Mikko and I are feeling good about where we're at, and we'll have a little taste of what it's going to be like tomorrow night, and then it's go time. So I'm sure we'll both be ready.
Next question will be for Tracy Myers. Tracy, go ahead.
Hi, thank you guys for doing this. Just wanted to ask you, kind of off of what we were just talking about with the exhibition game. What's it going to be like to play, just get that game atmosphere in a very different way now?
I think that we've done a great job in practice, ramping up the intensity, and I think throughout the year, you're going into practice, you're not finishing checks and that sort of thing, but I think it's just our mindset that we need to ramp it up. We only have one game to get ready before it counts for real. And I thought throughout our scrimmages and even through practices, guys are going hard, battling, kind of creating that mindset before we go in.
Next question for Tom Gulitti. Tom, as soon as your microphone's active, go ahead.
Just following up on that, if I know you can answer, I don't know if you've seen what the arena has looked like yet, or how it's set up. Are you expecting that, obviously it's going to be different with no fans in there, but do you think there will be some atmosphere, and then maybe tomorrow with facing Calgary, will that kind of take care of itself as far as there just being a rivalry there?
Well, I think most of the guys who's in here have been waiting for a long time to start playing again. I think we're all ready to go, and like these guys said, I think we've been doing a pretty good job to stay in shape and have a good intensity at practice here last couple of weeks. So I think we're more than ready, and obviously it would be fun to have a lot of fans in here, but it's a tough situation. It's crazy times, but we got to do the best out of it.
Next question, Derek Van Diest. Derek, as soon as your microphone is active, you can go ahead.
Yeah, hi Oscar. I guess this question's for you. I just wanted to ask you about the intensity you guys had in scrimmages was kind of getting ramped up as per scrimmages, but how much different is it for game intensity? Like, do you have to really find your legs in that exhibition game tomorrow? Or is there a big difference between as intense as you can be in a scrimmage and getting up to game speed?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like Matt said, I think we've been doing a pretty good job ramping up the intensity during our practices, but going in tomorrow playing a team like Calgary is going to be 100%. You need to. It's like Mike said, it's a quick turnaround. You need to find your legs quickly. You need to make some saves and get into it pretty fast, because every game really matters now. It's everyone has to be accountable and have to be ready, because otherwise this can be a short journey.
Next question, Ryan Rashad. Ryan, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead.
Yeah, it's excuse me, a couple of you want to weigh in. Just, we saw in Major League Baseball this morning, there was some positive tests on one team, bit of an outbreak, and it's really thrown things into question a little bit. I just wonder if that resonated among the players, if it's something you guys heard about and talked about, and maybe how you guys feel about having gotten through phase 3 fairly clean. The teams have all arrived in these cities safely, and just maybe what a big hurdle that feels like has been cleared.
Yeah, I think it's probably a stressful time for the NHL and everyone involved in this unique situation. Obviously, getting everyone here was probably the biggest, stress point of this whole thing. I think there was no negative or no positive tests here in the last week or so. So obviously that's important. And I think the NHL and the city of Edmonton have done an unbelievable job to get this kind of bubble life sorted out, and feels very secure in this little spot we're in right now. So, baseball is obviously different. They're traveling around all over the U.S. and in different cities where, there's high infection rates. So as players, I think we feel pretty safe at where we're at right now. And like Oscar said, excited about getting going now.
Next question, Adam Cook. Adam, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead.
This is for all three of you guys. When you're in this kind of scenario, obviously it's unprecedented, but I wonder if it's possible to kind of go to get comfortable with your confines. Like, are you there yet? Like, what's the testing like? Like, is it possible to get used to it?
Yeah. I mean, the testing is the testing. It's you got to do it no matter what. I think for some guys it's bad, for some guys it's not. But you know what? It's a part of being here, and it's a part of continuing what we're doing. So I think for the most part, guys aren't really complaining about it. And I mean, moving on, I think that just through our lifestyle, we're always on the go. We're always traveling to new cities. So I think this bubble is a new look for us, but we're kind of used to that on-the-go lifestyle where we can adapt to that.
Just a note to media, because of time constraints, we'd ask you to limit to one question for one person so we can get to as many questions as possible. Rob Tishkowski, you're up. Go ahead.
Hi guys, if a couple can maybe jump on this one. These Edmonton Calgary games over last season have been pretty exciting, pretty intense. You know, line brawls, goalie fights, the whole deal. Is this the perfect opponent for you guys if you only get one preseason game to get ready? And is there a line to be walked? Is this going to be more along the lines of preseason hockey or midseason Battle of Alberta hockey? Can't hear this.
Like I said earlier, we've been practicing a lot here for a couple of weeks, but it's not really the same thing on going into a 60-minute full game against Calgary. So I think it's good for us to get into heat and start finding our legs again. And obviously that's going to make us ready for Chicago.
Next question, Jim Matheson. Jim, as soon as your microphone is unmuted, you can go ahead.
This is for Mike. Mike Smith. Can you, I know it's a fair number of years ago, can you relate to playing the Blackhawks before when you were in Arizona and you kind of stole that series from what I understand, beating the Chicago Blackhawks?
Yeah, it seems like 100 years ago now, but yeah, obviously a little bit different situation not being able to play at the United Center or, you know, at your home rink, but I think obviously a team that has had a lot of experience in the playoffs, obviously won Stanley Cup, so it'll be a good test for our group, and I think we're at the point now where we're just excited about getting things started. I think there's been a lot of lead up going to this point. Obviously an exhibition game tomorrow to get kind of our feet under us, but I think guys are excited about this opportunity, this chance to you know, to beat a very good hockey team, and we're just kind of excited about let's get her going now.
We'll take two more questions. Go to Quinn Phillips. Quinn, go ahead.
Wants to answer. Just wanted to know, you know, how comfortable the bubble is and what the league and some of the, or league and team have done to make it as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, I think for the most part, everything's pretty comfortable. I mean, we've only been here a day, but the player lounges are really nice. The food and amenities are really nice. I think that for the first 5 days, we're kind of supposed to stay away from other teams. So I think some guys haven't really ventured kind of in the bubble. So I can't really answer that question fully. But from what they had on the PowerPoint presentations, it looks really nice. I think, I mean, I haven't really heard anyone complaining or that sort of thing. And there's stuff for guys to do, which I think was a concern for some of the guys.
And one final question, Tracy Myers. Go ahead, Tracy.
Hi, this is for Mike Smith and kind of what you all were just talking about. You guys are home, but you're not home. So how just strange is this whole situation?
It's definitely unique. I think reality definitely set in yesterday when you bring your luggage into a hotel room after you drive to the rink 10 minutes, you know, from your house here in Edmonton. So the only thing that's a good thing is that it's unique for everybody. Everyone's going through the same thing. Everyone's staying in, you know, these two hotels and playing in the same arena, dressing in different dressing rooms every day, but it's all kind of new to everyone. I think the team with the biggest mental strength, strongest mental strength is gonna you know, probably lift the Stanley Cup this year. And you know, we're all in this. We're all in a new situation, so we're kind of going day by day here right now.
Thank you very much. We'll be back shortly with head coach Dave Tippett.
Yeah, there's no better way of putting it. It's definitely a unique situation with Phase 4 rolling in over the weekend. Mike Smith was talking about bringing in the luggage. If you haven't seen the footage yet on EdmontonOilers.com, him and James Neal were coming in together, and he might have almost ran over James Neal. Go check out that video. But a couple of interesting notes from that a lot of questions with this Edmonton Oilers club is who's going to start in net for game one. But Mike Smith has been adamant that he and Mikko Koskinen are both preparing like they're going to play for game one. And that could be a real strength for this hockey club, especially since the calendar flipped over to 2020. Mike Smith has really felt a resurgence in his play, beginning with that 5-game road trip at the start of January. Mikko Koskinen has been consistent all season long. He was very honest about his play at the tail end of last season, saying that he needed to be better, and he stepped up to the plate, so the Oilers will have 2 viable options in goal. Now, in regards to the atmosphere, it's definitely going to be different for these players. If you haven't seen the setup at the Arena Bowl yet, there's large LED screens and projections coming up, but it sounds like we're going to get head coach Dave Tippett to the podium right away here, so let's go to Dave Tippett.
Welcome, everyone. We have head coach Dave Tippett with us. Reminder to use raise hand to ask your questions. We've got a couple questions lined up. We'll start with John Worrell. Go ahead, John.
Good afternoon, Dave. John Worrell here with the Associated Press. If I understand this correctly, you're in the Glenn Sather room. Knowing the history of what Glenn Sather's done, his history with the Oilers, does it make it in any sense comforting to be at home and in a room that pays tribute to the Oilers' history?
Well, I don't know if it's comfort just because we're here, but when you talk about the tradition of the Oilers and with some of the great Oilers between Glenn and Wayne and Mark Messier and Kevin Lowe and all the players that have come through here, it certainly gives you a sense of pride. It's a great franchise with a strong history, and when you mention those names, you think about winning. So if you can play in a place where those people are named after because of the legacy that they've left, that's good thoughts, whether you're at home or wherever you are.
Next question, Ryan Rashad. Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, Dave. This is kind of our first crack at things, not being able to watch practice. So we're going to test you out a little bit here and see what you're willing to tell us. Just on a couple of fronts, was there anybody any of your regulars who did not participate in practice today? And did you make any significant line changes or deep pairings?
Yeah, I changed all of them up, everything different, so you guys can guess from there. No, the only player that missed today is Riley Sheehan. Did not skate today, and so he was the only guy out. Everybody else on the ice, not a lot of big changes in the lines, other than Haas going in the middle where Riley Sheehan was. So that's about it.
Next question, Derek Van Diest. Derek, as soon as your microphone's active, you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Hi, Dave. Just wanted to ask you what you're looking for as a coach from this exhibition game. Are you kind of looking and evaluating and seeing how guys are, or do you just kind of open the gate and let them find their legs and let them get back up to game speed?
We're trying to get our mind in the right place. We've talked about building towards game one right from the start of this camp, and there's certain things you do to click your mind in to get going. We've had a lot of scrimmage time, but you get into a game, you got to get thinking right. The summer hockey's got to get out of you. You got to get up to speed in a hurry. So just doing little things right, make sure we're playing the right way, and focusing on getting better tomorrow. Those would be our goals going into the game. But it's I wish we probably had 2 exhibition games, but we've done lots of scrimmaging. But just to get your mind in the right place, so when game one comes, you understand what's at stake and the pace you're going to have to play at.
Next question, Tom Gulitti. Go ahead, Tom.
Hi, Dave. I don't know if you've watched other sports and what they've done without fans in the building, but I'm just wondering what you're anticipating it'll be like to play tomorrow. I don't know if you've seen what they've done there to your building so far, but what do you think the atmosphere will be like? And will the guys be able to get past that because it's a rival and that'll kind of heat things up on its own?
You know what? I'm interested to see how the players react. I've been out in the bowl and looked at it. It looks really, I'm interested to see how it comes out on TV also, but the bowl looks very different than just an empty arena. So, once the players get out there and kind of take that in, I'm not sure how it'll go with whether there's music or crowd noise or whatever they're going to pump in there, but I think everybody's kind of wondering how it's going to go. Ultimately, the players, our group, we've talked about making sure that we're focused on the task at hand, whether there's noise, not noise, whatever it may be. We've got to still play to the capabilities that we expect, and those other things can become distractions if you let them. But for our group, we've talked about not letting anything, whether it's quiet or noise or no fans, whatever it is, that can't be a distraction.
Next question, Jason Gregor. Go ahead, Jason.
Dave, for the exhibition game tomorrow, you have 13 forwards and 7 defense when you're allowed to dress, and sounds like you're going to. How does that change your approach? What is your approach with only one exhibition game, and how you want to try to get all, 20 skaters involved?
Well, you just the extra defenseman, extra forward, you'll try to get them some time. You're looking at people that maybe won't be in game one, but you're looking at want to get them some game action. So I like that the NHL's done that, giving a couple extra guys some time. So, you're looking at your group, and especially your group where you think you're going to be on game one, and making sure your group gets enough minutes to feel good about what they're doing. And it's just, again, it's part of the process of getting yourself ready for game one.
Next question, Jim Matheson. Jim, as soon as your microphone's active, you can ask your question. Go ahead.
D-Town Hawes hasn't really been skating hard, but you've lost for the time being your number one penalty killer. I would presume in Riley Shane, because he was Josh Archibald. How does that change things, considering you had the second best penalty kill in the league?
Well, we have confidence in a lot of people. That's one of the things about Haas. We've been trying to get him involved in that a little more, and the other group was we were pretty good through the regular season. So, we've lost Riley for a day or two here. So I'm not saying that we don't have that. So we'll look at all our options, and as we get to Saturday, we hope to have those options in place. If not, we have people that can fill in those holes.
Next question to Steve Wino. Steve, as soon as your microphone's unmuted, you can go ahead.
Hey, Dave. I'm curious, what do you remember from those 5-game series you played in as a player, and what you can tell your players about what that's like compared to what they're used to of a 7-game series?
I remember those 5-game series where you played 4 games in the first 5 days. It was back-to-back, travel day, back-to-back. So it was, you have to be ready for the grind. And a unique situation like this, you're going from not playing to playing playoff hockey or style hockey. So you've got to embrace the grind mentally, physically, and we've got the first 3 games. There's days off in between, so manage that. But I think the biggest thing is to manage it with the recognition that we haven't played in a while. So it's a whole new ball game. Usually when I played those series, we just finished a regular season, and you're jumping right into it. But we're in a little different situation right here, so you'll monitor your players very closely about where they are injury-wise, fatigue-wise, and make sure you try to maximize during the games.
Next question, Rob Tichkowski. Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, just you talked about getting up to speed quickly. Is Calgary a good opponent in that respect, given the natural intensity between the two teams?
I think any team would be, but I think you're going to see teams really concentrate on what they're doing. We'll try to make it as regular as a game as we can with preparation and playing in those things. But our focus is using tomorrow's game to get ready for Saturday's game. So it doesn't matter the opponent you have. We're going to do what we've got to do. There's obviously us in Calgary have a rivalry, and that probably brings a little extra emotion into it. But I look at that as that's a good thing to get our players emotionally engaged right now and get ready for game one.
Next question, Terry Jones. Terry, as soon as your microphone's unmuted, you can go ahead.
Yeah, Dave, can you sort of encapsulate what you think's coming ahead? Not with the preseason exhibition game, whatever you want to call it, but what caliber of hockey do you expect? You've had, all this time off, short camp. You get a best of 5, and then you get into the regular stuff if you go through. But there's no travel involved in this. There's some things that would make you think it might be better, and there's some things that make you think it may be a little shabby. So how do you think? What's ahead?
I think you're going to see the players really dialed in, and I know they've been off a long time, but every team's had camps. I know just about every coach that I've seen around has done a lot of scrimmaging in camps, so the importance of the situation, importance of the games, I think you'll see players dialed in. Now, that being said, will there be some sloppy play? Possibly. But I think you're going to see teams that coaches I've talked to are all trying to dial in as quick as you can, and especially in the first round, the play-in, the best of 5, your margin for error is very slim. So you better be on top of your game right from the start. And critical mistakes could cost you games, and those are the ones that just because you haven't played for a while doesn't give you an excuse to make mistakes. You got to be ready when the puck drops, and we have to, as a team, play well as a team, which is there's no time like a regular exhibition game this season to jump in, okay, we'll fix things. You got to be ready to go on game 1. So I think you'll see players dialed in. I think you'll see great effort, and it'll lead to some real exciting hockey.
Okay, after this question, we'll take 2 more questions. Tracy Myers, go ahead.
Hi, Tip. I was asking Mike Smith this earlier. First of all, hope you're doing well, but you're home, but you're not home. And just so how interesting is this situation from your vantage point?
Well, we're in the same boat as all the other teams. We're in our dressing room one day and then out of it the next day. We've tried to prepare for that during training camp. We've had, scrimmages, players dress out of different dressing rooms around. So you just try to deal with it. But we're looking at it as we're a road team. We don't have any advantage of it. There's no fans. We don't get to use our facilities like we normally do. So we're just looking at it as every other team. I joked with the guys. I said, normal situation, you'd be living at home. At least you know how to get into the rink. But even our guys, with the way the bubble is constructed, everybody's wondering which direction they go, which door they get in. So we're no different than anybody else. And the rinks are, the ice surface itself and boards and glass and that are pretty identical around the whole league. So that part doesn't come into play. So I don't look at it as an advantage or disadvantage. I look at it as we're familiar, but other than that, we're on the same plane as everybody else.
Next question, Jim Matheson. Jim, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead.
Dave, the Oilers' power play has been the best in the league. Would you like to see your 5-on-5 play better? Because most of the game will be played 5-on-5, and you fed off your power play during the regular season, but you're going to probably get fewer power play chances in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think if you look at the season, it was a kind of tale of two 5-on-5 seasons. The second half of the season, I thought we improved 5-on-5. That being said, I think there's still much more improvement needed if we have a chance to be successful in the playoffs. So you're right, our power play was excellent. Both our special teams were excellent. We relied on them sometimes. But in the second half of the season, it was less to that extent, and our 5-on-5 improved. But that's an onus we put on during training camp here, that we need to be a better 5-on-5 team and more consistent. And so those are things that we focused on, and hopefully we can get to that point in the upcoming games.
Final question to Daniel Nugent-Bowman. Go ahead, Daniel.
Hi, Dave. I'd like to take a crack at your favorite subject. What have you decided tomorrow in terms of how you work your goaltenders?
Pardon me, say that again?
What have you decided in terms of how you'll work your goaltenders tomorrow?
They'll both practice in the morning and get some good work, and then we'll decide who's going to play tomorrow night.
Thank you very much, Coach, and thanks to that brings to a conclusion the Oilers media availability.
we heard from head coach Dave Tippett. He's not giving us an answer on who's going to be playing tomorrow. He did say both goaltenders will be practicing and they'll make a decision earlier before the game. Now, a quick note about tomorrow. The NHL is allowing teams to take 13 forwards and 7 defensemen. That is what head coach Dave Tippett will do for the game tomorrow. So we'll wait on that for the rosters in the morning. Now, obviously, a very unique situation. Just going back to Oscar Klefbom earlier, he said it's crazy times, but we are ready. Matt Benning said they've been intensifying the scrimmages and the practices more and more so as the week progresses. And the major hurdle was really about the COVID tests coming into the bubble. The NHL did release that there were no positive tests today, but they did incur 2 positive tests over phase 3, which have been dealt with accordingly. Now, head coach Dave Tippett, on the first answer, he talked about the tradition of the Edmonton Oilers and how Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid look to build on that tradition. Of course, 5 Stanley Cups. They're going to be looking for a 6th, beginning with the Stanley Cup qualifier on August 1st. Again, that starts at 1 p.m. For the puck drop. And I know on YouTube, a lot of fans were wondering if tomorrow's exhibition game is going to be televised. It is indeed. It's going to be on Sportsnet with an 8:30 p.m. puck drop. So just a note for you guys who were asking. Now, head coach Dave Tippett also talked about the back-to-backs, and when he was playing many years ago, that back-to-backs were very common in a 5-game series. Now, the Oilers and Blackhawks will only have a back-to-back match if they go to Game 4 and Game 5. Those 2 games are scheduled for August 7th and August 8th, times to be determined. And that should wrap up today's morning availability after the Oilers skated at the downtown community arena. Riley Shan, as mentioned by head coach Dave Tippett, did not skate today, as we will wait a further update on that. So I'm Tony Brar on behalf of the entire Oilers TV crew. We hope you're staying safe, and welcome back, hockey.